Imagine a silence in a courtroom so complete it pries open a man's confidence, cleaner than any shout. Providence Municipal Court, autumn morning. Waxed benches breathe a faint lemon sheen, jackets hush and settle. Someone clears a weathered throat. Fluorescents hum. The door clicks. Aiden Cross, 26, son of North Star Courier Holdings CEO, strides in. No tie, expensive suit, athletic sneakers, phone welded to his palm. On the table, a file that sounds small until you read it aloud, failure to stop at a marked school crosswalk, Monday, October 6, 2025, 7:42 a.m., Hope St. School Zone, and disorderly conduct toward the issuing officer. Judge Caprio studies him and lets nothing happen. The pause presses on the room like a lid. Mr. Cross, what occurred at 7:42? I was heading to a meeting. Slow. No one was there. Aiden flicks the air, as if to shoo away a gnat of inconvenience. Paper edges whisper as the clerk adjusts the file. Somewhere, a pen cap clicks twice. Aiden lifts his chin, scans over people rather than at them, taps the phone's case against the bench. Talk, talk, trying to set his own tempo. Caprio folds his hands. The charge concerns a crosswalk at a school. It was a crosswalk, Aiden says, thin smile. Not a highway. I was a minute behind. Let's be practical. Silence answers him. Its weight rearranges the air. From the report, a volunteer crossing guard in a yellow vest, retired nurse, walking cane from recent knee rehab, stood in the lane with the stop paddle raised while two children waited for the walk. A horn sounded. The SUV rolled through on the white words painted "Walk across Hope Street." During the stop, the officer's recorder caught speakerphone. "Run this by my lawyer, pal," Aiden's voice says, mid-sigh, as if ordering lunch. A rustle ripples along the back row. Someone murmurs, then clamps it down. On the windshield photo, commercial plates, company vehicle. Also, a tidy donor sticker from the school's foundation, the kind that usually buys preferred parking at charity nights, not right-of-way on Monday mornings. Caprio doesn't react. The quiet grows specific. The ribbed cover of a legal pad under a nervous thumb, the slight thonk of a boot heel on wood, the ventilation fan's steady exhale over everyone's patience. Aiden tries to outpace it with speed. Shoulders squared, breath shallow, phone rhythm picking up. "I'm not reckless," he says. "I deliver essentials. Meds, parts, time matters." "Time always matters," Caprio replies, voice low, especially to a child who needs every second to cross. The room holds still. Aiden's eyes skim past faces, older men with folded programs, grandmothers in quilted vests, a mail carrier on his day off, people for whom a school zone is not a suggestion, but a ritual. The judge waits, and the waiting rearranges Aiden's posture more effectively than any lecture. Caprio closes the file gently, as if it were a door. "We will sort fact from friction," he says. "Begin with yourself. No embellishment, no pitch." A beat. Then, very softly, as if fitting a frame around the moment, "Tell me who you are, Mr. Cross. Only the facts." He sits straighter, but the set of his shoulders betrays strain. "East Side," he says. "I work at my father's company. We move critical shipments, medication, lab kits, machine parts. I wasn't late to coffee. I was headed to a clinic." A few heads in the benches nod. The words land clean. Caprio doesn't reward them. He waits, and the quiet pulls more out of Aiden than a question would. "I grew up where problems are handled," Aiden adds, searching the ceiling as if the right phrasing lived in the tiles. "You call. People fix things. That's how logistics works. Remove friction." "Sometimes friction is the break," the judge says, not unkindly. Aiden reaches into his folder and slides a receipt to the bailiff. Proof of a medical sample delivery for 8 a.m. The clerk reads, brow knitting. Destination is on the west side. The timestamp doesn't match 7:42 on Hope Street. She turns the page. Server time shows 8:54. Note says, courtesy update. The benches breathe out a low, collective, Aiden's jaw tightens. We issued the label earlier. Systems lag. The point is, this was important. A small speaker chirps as the officer plays a clip. Aiden's voice through car audio. Calm, dismissive. That midtown cadence of someone smoothing a client. It's just crosswalks. They'll wait. I'm a minute. Older faces in the room trade looks. No anger, just that weary disappointment that carries more weight than outrage. A mail carrier folds his arms. A grandmother in the second row shakes her head once. The clerk, paging through public records. Last year, a North Star SUV registered to Mr. Cross was cited for standing in a no-stopping zone near Miriam Hospital. Disposition. Warning. No one cheers. No one scolds. Caprio's stillness does the work. He doesn't scowl. He lets the facts sit where everyone can see them. Aiden talks faster, as if speed could glue the pieces together. We donate to that school, he says, tapping the photo with the donor sticker. We've funded vests, lights. We're not the bad guys. Funding safety isn't a license to ignore it, Caprio says. The voice is mild. The content isn't. The room feels older than Aiden's age. Civics, class memories, little league carpools, winters spent at crosswalks with steaming breath and chapped hands. The judge's silence keeps turning the screw. With no interruption to fight against, Aiden begins adding detail he never planned to share. My father travels, he says, quieter now. Mom runs the foundation. At home, we're always on the clock. Airport, meetings, dashboards. If something jams, you press a number and it clears. And on Hope Street, Caprio replies, the number was a little boy's hand in an adult's palm. Aiden looks away. The phone in his fist is finally still. He inhales, long and thin. I shouldn't have said what I said to the officer. Noted, the judge answers, and the word lands like a pin in a map. Around them, the ordinary noises resume. A shoe scuffs, pages settle, a whisper hushes itself. The cultural math in this room is simple. Children crossing get the road. Elders holding the sign get the right to be obeyed. Everything else can wait. Caprio lifts his eyes to the officer, then to the clerk. Let's examine what isn't in the narrative, he says. All of it, by the minute. The judge asks for the timeline. No lecture, just a nod. The projector wakes with a low fan, and the wall takes on the pale glow of evidence. School security footage first. 7:42:03. Walk illuminates. Two small figures step forward, hands linked. The crossing guard in a yellow vest raises the paddle. At 7:42:10, a black SUV glides, hesitates, and drifts through as the paddle stays up. No sound, only motion. 3 sharp bursts of a horn visible in the guard's flinch. Caprio tips his chin to the officer. A second feed appears. Body cam after the stop. You hear traffic, then the smooth Bluetooth timbre of Aiden's voice through the SUV speakers. It's a crosswalk, not the interstate. I'm a minute behind. Unhurried, practiced. The clerk reads from a printout. CarPlay log shows an incoming at 7:41 from PR. Jess, dictation active at 7:42. She holds up the delivery receipt next. Order created 8:17. Server timestamp 8:54. Note field, courtesy update. She doesn't add a comment. She doesn't have to. The room does it for her with a single soft "oh." Aiden's water bottle cap spins under his thumb. He keeps his eyes on the screen, but his attention flickers at the word courtesy. "Witness?" Caprio asks. A hand rises from the rear. A man in a brown polo stands, UPS logo sun-faded at the shoulder. 57, he says when asked for age. "I was unloading. Black SUV rolled past the stop. Driver did a little hurry-up wave at the lady with the sign. Didn't look at the kids. Looked at his phone. Nothing mean in his tone. Just delivery. Like a parcel set on a porch. Time-stamped. Photographed." Aiden's attorney moves quickly, sliding a letter on corporate letterhead across the rail. "Priority medical delivery to a clinic. Critical timeline," he offers. The clerk tilts the page, squints. "Old logo," she says. "Hotline number is inactive." She looks up. This reads like an internal mock-up. Caprio receives a glossy photo of the windshield. Commercial plates. Lower corner. A neat donor sticker from the school's foundation. He sets the photo down without comment. The gesture travels farther than words. Charity is not a traffic signal. Aiden breaks first. "You're turning me into a villain over a crosswalk? We fund those vests. We help the school. I wasn't trying to offend anyone." Caprio doesn't answer. He lets 7 seconds pass, each one a click in the spine of the room. "Do you remember the crossing guard's face?" he asks at last. Aiden blinks. "Yellow vest. Woman. I was watching traffic." "Her name is Mrs. Reeves," Caprio says. "She stood there to make sure someone's child got across. A task your donation supports, and your wheel undermined." Aiden's breath catches at that. A quick, involuntary hitch, like a step missed in unfamiliar stairs. Mouse clicks advance the footage a frame at a time. The hum of the projector settles into the ceiling. Somewhere, a shoe taps, then stills. The older spectators don't gloat. They've seen enough mornings to know how little it takes to turn routine into hazard. "We'll need first-person detail," Caprio says, finally raising his eyes from the light-washed wall. "Not pixels." The double doors ease open. A woman in a yellow vest steps inside, cane touching wood with a delicate ring. The judge gives a small nod toward the front microphone. No announcement. No overture. The room draws a breath and holds it. Mrs. Reeves settles at the mic, yellow vest creased at the elbows, cane tip touching wood with a faint bell. She doesn't adjust her voice for drama. The room adjusts to her. "I take Hope Street every morning from 7:20 to 8:10, she says. "On October 6th, at 7:42, my stop paddle was already up. 2 children were stepping off the curb. A black SUV rolled in, horned 3 times. The driver waved at me to hurry." She sets something small on the evidence table, a cracked aluminum plate from the back of her paddle. It makes a bright, embarrassed clink. "It snapped when I jerked back," she adds. The clerk checks a form. "Inventory write-off logged 755, she confirms. "I'm 68, Mrs. Reeves continues. "Just finished knee rehab. But if a kid has the walk, I don't move, even when it hurts." The line lands like a hand on a shoulder. Someone in the gallery whispers, "God bless you," and is immediately quiet. Caprio turns to Aiden and says nothing. 7-second stretch, counted by the HVAC's breath. Aiden blinks first. "I didn't see the paddle crack," he says. "Okay? I was on edge. The office was calling." The attorney rises, smooth as a hallway. "Your Honor, Mrs. Reeves is a volunteer, not law enforcement. My client isn't obligated." One glance from the bench, the kind that closes a door softly but completely. The attorney sits. Mrs. Reeves looks past the mic, squinting a little. "Aiden," she says, "you volunteered with your father in 2013, Summer Safety Week. You held this sign." She taps the broken plate with a fingernail. "You were so careful with it." The room breathes in. The sound is almost a tide. Aiden's hand travels to his jaw and falls away, empty. I remember, he says, barely above the hum of the projector. Caprio's palm opens toward the timeline on the wall. We'll keep to minutes, he says. In traffic, a minute is an argument. In crossings, it's a verdict. The clerk advances the display, time stamps blinking like mile markers. The UPS driver folds his arms, not triumphant, just present. Mrs. Reeves rests both hands on her cane. The paddle with the cracked plate waits beside her, no bigger than a lunch tray, and somehow heavier than the SUV photo. Sounds collect with new meaning. The delicate tick of the projector mount, the paper collar of a coffee cup settling, the friction of a legal pad being squared to the table edge. None of it frantic. All of it exact. Aiden exhales through his nose, long, controlled, the way he does before pitching a fix to a customer. It doesn't change the frame. Nothing does. The facts are a box you either fit or don't. Caprio nods once. Thank you, Mrs. Reeves. No praise, no platitude. Just a marker in the road. He looks to the clerk. Pull everything we have into a single chain, he says. Camera, body cam, CarPlay, inventory. I want drift removed. The bailiff dims the lights another shade. The white of the timeline sharpens. Mrs. Reeves returns to the gallery, cane tapping a patient rhythm. 1, 2, like a metronome for attention. We proceed, Caprio says, and the word is a gear engaging. The court leans forward together, as if the benches had migrated an inch toward the truth. The screen sharpens into a single spine of time. Minutes, seconds, arrows. No commentary, just sequence. 07:42:03. Walk icon blooms. Two small silhouettes step off the curb. 07:42:05. Mrs. Reeves plants the paddle, shoulders squared. 07:42:10. The black SUV rolls, nose dipping, then coasting through with the paddle still raised. Her arm jerks. The plate later found cracked. Bodycam picks up after the stop. Morning traffic. A blinker's hollow tick. The Bluetooth clean version of Aiden's voice. It's a crosswalk, not the interstate. I'm a minute behind. The clerk layers in the telematics. CarPlay shows an incoming at 7:41 from PR, Jess. Dictation toggled at 7:42. She taps the printout with a nail. Delivery record created 8:17. Server stamp 8:54. Note field reads, courtesy update. No gasp, just that low, veteran rumble older crowds make when the math stops forgiving. Add correspondence, Caprio says. A fresh document slides beneath the projector. An email to the PTA at 9:32 a.m. Subject line, let's make it right. Boilerplate gratitude, a promise of an extra donation following the morning incident. The logo at the top doesn't match current branding. The hotline listed returns disconnected. From the back, the UPS driver lifts a hand. One thing I forgot, he says at the mic, voice steady. When he waved hurry, his eyes weren't on the kids. They were on his phone. It's small, but small's where these things happen. No one claps. It lands and stays. The clerk advances the bar. 7:41, 7:42, 7:55. Inventory write-off for the broken plate. Each tick feels like a knuckle on the table. Aiden's attorney tries a pivot. Even if there was drift in timestamps, my client's intent. Caprio raises a palm. Intention without attention is still impact. He turns to Aiden. You volunteered here once? Aiden nods. No point dodging what's already in the room. Years ago. How many children could cross in the 5 seconds you tried to save? Caprio asks. Aiden's mouth opens, then closes. I don't know. Enough to require a full stop, the judge says, not raising his voice. Paper whispers. The clerk stacks exhibits into a single clean packet. Camera stills, body cam excerpt, telematics, the PTA email, the inventory log. The projector hum becomes background again, like traffic 2 blocks away. Older faces watch Aiden the way they once watched their own kids test the edge of a rule. Not hostile, expectant. Caprio's eyes travel the room, then return to the screen. "Facts don't scold," he says. They point. He closes the binder. The soft thud carries. "We're done measuring," he adds. "Now we decide what measurement is for." He gathers the exhibits as a carpenter gathers tools, carefully, in order. The bailiff brightens the lights. Mrs. Reeves steadies herself to stand. The UPS driver steps back to his seat. Aiden doesn't reach for his phone. It sits on the bench like a quiet witness. The judge laces his fingers. "Penalty can be an eraser," he says, "or it can be a pencil." Aiden blinks, unsure which he's being handed. "Punishment isn't always an ending," Caprio finishes, the room leaning toward him in a single, unplanned motion. "Sometimes it's the start of being useful." He turns the file face down. "We'll talk about useful now." The room waits. Caprio's gaze finds Aiden and holds. No lecture, just air doing the work. "Statutory fine for failing to stop at a school crosswalk," the judge says at last. $200. Court costs, $45. Pay at the window. A rustle, then stillness. Additionally, pedestrian safety and ADA awareness. Complete the course, pass the test, file the certificate within 30 days. Aiden nods, jaw tight. 60 hours of community service, Caprio continues. Not in an office. On school zone corners, under a coordinator's schedule. Mornings. You'll learn the traffic from the other side of the windshield. Aiden opens his mouth, closes it. "Restitution," the judge says. "Replace the paddle, vests, and lights from your personal account. Corporate donations don't count. Receipts to the clerk." He swallows. "I can do more than that," he blurts. "We'll fund a year of crossing guards." Silence hangs a beat. Caprio's reply is mild, unmovable. "Money is the short road, Mr. Cross. You'll take the long one morning at a time." Soft, almost surprised laughter exhales from a couple of benches, then dies respectfully. Caprio turns a page. Public apology next Thursday, 7:30 a.m. PTA brief in front of the school. Say it before the shift starts. And for 6 months, any violation in a school zone removes you from any plea for reduction. Clear? "Yes, Your Honor." Mrs. Reeves rises, cane sounding a small metronome on wood. She brings a boxed new stop paddle to the aisle and holds it out. Aiden meets her there like a man stepping onto a dock that moves. "Hold it level," she says. "Kids watch the sign, not your last name." He takes it with both hands. The cardboard squeaks. "I saw only my schedule," he says, voice rough. "Not people. I'm sorry." She nods once, as if checking a strap. Then starts seeing. From the back, the UPS driver lifts a hand. "If it's all right, Judge, I'll take the first shift with him tomorrow. Let him feel the trucks come up on a yellow." Caprio inclines his head. Approved. The attorney has nothing left to add. The clerk finishes her notes. The room seems to breathe together. Aiden faces the gallery. Not for show, because there is nothing left to sell. "I'll be there at 7:20, he says, almost to himself. A paper cup sets softly on the floor. A coat sleeve brushes wood. These tiny sounds replace the earlier hum of certainty. Caprio settles his hands. "Consequences aren't insults," he says. "They're instructions." He looks directly at Aiden, and the last line lands without force, only weight. Sometimes the loudest thing we can ask ourselves is, who did I fail to notice? Your answer starts at the curb. He lifts the gavel and lets it fall once. Not a crack, just a period. Afterward, in the corridor, Aiden silences a calendar chime. PTA briefing. Through 7:30 a.m. and slips the phone away. He carries the boxed paddle like a promise you don't advertise. Thursday comes early. The air has that school morning chill. Aiden stands beside Mrs. Reeves and the UPS driver, learning the choreography. Hand up, eyes on the far curb, count the beats between engines. A minivan idles. A boy squeezes his mother's fingers and looks up at the new sign. It holds steady. A week later, the course certificate lands on the clerk's desk. A check covers the equipment. The apology is brief and plain. No hashtags, no logo on the podium. People nod and go back to their mornings. No headline runs. It doesn't need to. In a dozen small commutes, a man who once shaved seconds now spends them, standing where the minutes belong. And the silence that started this is different now. Less verdict than vow, asking again, softly, to keep paying attention.